Hello and welcome to episode 28 of Entertainment of Excellence, the podcast where we talk about films, TV, all of it. Hi, I'm Ollie.
I'm Thom.
And I'm Ben.
And today we're going to be talking about the 2018 film Slender Man. This will contain spoilers.
Yeah, that sounds good. So, this film is about a man who is quite slender.
Oh, that's a
We'd
joke.
call him Slender Man. And so there's this group of 4 girls. One of them goes missing because Slender Man, because they watch a video that makes creepy things happen. What, The Ring? No, shh. You never heard of that film. Shh. One of their friends disappears. They have to investigate things around the disappearances and why it's happened to try and find a friend. What do you mean, Stranger Things? No, shut up. No. Completely original. And then they all die. That's all I remember.
Yeah,
There's so many random things that happen for no reason in this film. It's just it feels like that's the whole plot. Is literally what I've just said. One of them goes missing, then they all die. It makes it just really boring.
Yeah, there isn't really much more
The
plot.
whole film happened for no reason.
That's true. The whole film did happen for no reason. Who wanted a Slender Man film in 2018?
Nobody. Yeah, though
We
this
thought,
was.
why not combine a scary Halloween horror film with a bad film which we haven't done for a while, so here's Slender Man.
Yeah, that's the reason we picked this masterpiece of cinema.
Yeah. If you've never heard of Slender Man before, then you're in for a ride.
Yeah, I've already forgotten there was a twist.
Same.
Okay, so there was right. After one of the friends goes missing, they find out that she was messaging some random person on the spooky interwebs,
Ooh.
who obviously is one of the girls. It's Ren, the quirky girl. None of them have any characters, but she's the quirky one, I guess. Which I only worked out because of the decoration of her bedroom. That's it. Say "Make America Weird Again" or something. But it was so obvious that Ren was Alley Cat or whatever the stupid username was.
Yeah.
I was like, oh come on! And then it turned out she was signed in as some random mental patient's user. What was that about? I don't know.
I don't know. Please
So many
help.
random plot things happen. Did you notice how they all knew each other's passwords?
Yeah.
I found that really funny. There's at least 3 different times they go on different people's computers. They steal Katie's or whatever, and then they manage to log into that fine. And Hallie steals Ren's computer, and then she just logs into it first try. What? This is terrible password security.
Yeah,
You shouldn't be.
Film is them typing on phones and laptops. I got sick of it.
Yeah. No, did you notice that?
It's a virus. They try and link it into the theme at the end where they're like,
Yeah,
but
but it's
it's people
awful.
talking about him, spread it, and stuff. And it just feels really ham-fisted. I have no idea what the message is supposed to be. Is it don't talk to people? Don't say spooky stories?
Don't spread the story of the Slender Man.
I don't
Don't go on
understand.
your phone.
It's probably internet bad, let's be honest.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, the plot, where was it? I don't understand. It just wasn't satisfying at all. It went nowhere. They're looking for the friend. They're told they have to sacrifice things they love to get friend back. Don't take off your blindfold. Don't take off your blindfold. Whatever. So obviously one of them takes off their blindfold,
Oh, that I think I stopped watching at that point because I couldn't survive like a full classic viewing of it for the whole hour and a half, which isn't too long for a film, but I couldn't do it. So I had to split it up into two.
I was just like messaging people while watching.
Yeah, I was checking Reddit.
It's so boring. Yeah.
Why don't we try and come up with some positives before we start to
rip on the film?
Okay, the directing was
awful.
Not terrible. Wait, was it all okay? No, but
I disagree on that.
Say a specific shot that you think. I think it was boring. I don't think it was good, but I don't think it was that bad.
I noticed right off the bat that I thought some of the shots were just really awkward and out of place, like especially when they were, you know, the oh no, it's the dude bros scene. There were there were like 12 cuts in 10 seconds.
Well, that's the editing, not the directing.
Right, but they were all really close and in their faces. None of them added anything to the scene, and
I think it varies.
Yeah, well,
there was
usually it was just boring.
There were some shots later in the film that were like okay to good. I'm talking like as they were walking into the forest.
There was one shot I liked where she woke up out of a dream that kind of went like. It kind of had a train spotting vibe, but that was the only one that I liked.
Yeah.
But genuinely,
absolutely awful. I mean, I think it was probably that the characters were absolutely dreadful, so that was probably more to do with the writing than the actual acting.
No, there was one line I wrote down actually of the acting where Ren goes, "It's not a game," or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
it was just so bad that I had to write it down.
I mean, there were a couple of exceptions, obviously, but the actresses were like good. They were just working with incredibly terrible writing.
I think
the dialogue in this film is atrocious.
Oh my god.
Yeah, what the look out, it's the dude bros. Yes. Yes, people say that.
Don't watch the website video.
Also, that's the only, like, were those guys supposed to be cool? Because they kind of looked like the
incels.
Nerds. Yeah. I don't understand. One thing, okay, the dialogue is terrible, and also there was no character development. Can you name anything about any of the characters?
Well, like, I couldn't even tell which character was which.
Neither could I.
It was just so dark.
Yeah.
Who was who?
Yeah, the characters were all pretty much the same, apart from like Ren, who was the quirky one.
No, Ren was the same, but they pretended she was the quirky one.
Yeah, well, I'm clutching at straws here.
Basically, if the characters investigated anything to do with Ren, or just the only thing that made Ren the quirky one was her clothes and bedroom, none of the dialogue or anything, like they were all the same person.
Yeah, I mean, I had trouble keeping track of who was called who.
Yeah,
like I remember Ren's name and I remember Chloe, and I can't remember anyone else.
Chloe
was the one that took off the blindfold.
Oh yeah. I thought you'd completely made that up.
Yeah, there was also
Hallie.
Patricia and
Hallie's
like
the one...
Steve.
Patricia? Oh right, you're making them up now. Okay.
I'm making a joke. It's a ha funny.
Hallie was the one with a sister, right? And
oh yeah,
literally she shows nothing but contempt for her sister the entire time, and then her sister gets like possessed by Slender Man or whatever the weird powers. He has all the horror film powers basically.
Yeah.
And so he possesses her, and then she suddenly needs to like kill herself to save her sister, and it's like you have shown the only thing of their relationship you have shown is not letting her hang out with you.
Yeah, okay, I feel like I'm just trying to think of any other good things. Right, okay, so the music...
The design of Slender Man was pretty cool, but it was barely in the film.
Yeah, that's true.
I think he was in the light too much, though, because whenever he was actually fully visible in a shot, I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. The music, like, served its purpose. It wasn't memorable. Right?
It did that a lot.
Yeah, there was a lot of
It
like,
annoyed me.
and then like the sound design was like good, like okay to good. It was a nice stereo image with some cool
Did you
sound
notice-
effects.
Yeah. Did you notice how many dog barks there were though?
No, were there quite
It was
a few?
like one house. Constant. If they ever had a quiet tense scene, it'd always be quiet, and then a dog would bark, and it's like, is this supposed to try and
Nice.
make us jump? I don't know.
I don't know if this is negative, if necessarily a positive or a negative, but judging by the trailer, the film could have been better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of scenes that aren't in it that actually look quite cool in the trailer.
We'll twist it into a positive for the
Yeah.
sake of having something to counterbalance what's about to come.
I mean, also, I've got one more positive. The jump scares would usually make me jump. That doesn't mean I was scared, but I did go, ooh.
Oh, I just,
You know?
I just,
Even Slender Man. It's just like a.
No, I wrote it down. Okay, we're already going into bad, but basically, every single time someone walks into the frame, it plays a loud noise and the characters gasp. and he did it so much that I just started like. It was so stupid. I wasn't like in the laughing mood when I was watching it because I was so bored, so I think I just rolled my eyes. But thinking back on it, like that was so ridiculous.
yeah. I mean,
Why?
I'm glad the jump scares scared. Well, not scared. Made you jump. I wasn't expecting them, but I can't say I had any reaction whatsoever. In fact, I think this could be a good segue
I
into
just
the
jumped
bad.
really easily.
Yeah, like I just was like, oh, there's Slender Man. Right.
Yeah. Well, there was no atmosphere. One of the reviews says there was, and it's a bad review, but I never felt any tension because, one, I didn't care about the characters, so I was like, yeah, kill them, I don't care.
Yeah.
Because they were just kind of annoying, really. And two, I don't know, there was just nothing really built tension.
Mm.
Yeah, and the tense scene seemed to drag on way too long.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think there were some things that one thing I did like was the idea of when they saw the like streamed video of someone going through their house. I was like, that
Yeah.
could have been a cool, scary idea if it wasn't in this film.
Yeah. I mean, I've listened to like stories and stuff online that have like creepypastas and stuff, and there's stuff like that happens, and if it's written well, then that can be a cool thing. But like obviously it was in this movie and was like the writing.
That was like also the way that they used the technology in this film was kind of like weird. So that was one of the few good instances, although it was kind of awkward the way that they had them holding the phone. I don't know why, but
also, did you find
they
it very
basically do a lot of research, and there's so many stupid things. Like I remember when they're looking at Slender Man, there was one that had like a video or something that with Slender Man in the background, and then they put one of those like massive red circles around him. I did laugh at that. That was so ridiculous.
Did you like the I think the only thing I like really picked up on that was like in this film that like was, because I was zoned out for most of this film, but one detail I did pick up was, you know, that scene you were talking about where I'm assuming it's Slender Man was walking through the house. He was using FaceTime, which is kind of ironic given he doesn't have a face.
I didn't know it was FaceTime.
I just like zoned in for 1 second and it said FaceTime, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
I bet that was a product placement as well.
Yeah.
One thing I just want to say that sums up this film really well is that the first song on the soundtracks on IMDb is Twerk It, Work It. I think you know what you're in for.
Beautiful.
I almost turned the film off after that first high school sequence.
Oh my, that was.
I almost turned the film off when do you remember? I can't remember which character it is because they're all the same. They woke up, went to the bathroom, creepy things happened, and then they were dreaming, woke up, then another creepy thing happened, then they woke up again, and I was like annoyed.
I hated that.
I can't even remember that.
Resolved, or everything was so underwhelming because they just woke up and stupid.
Yeah, anything scary that happened was just never real.
Yeah.
Oh, scary in quotation marks. Like the library scene.
Like the virus aspect of it, but it's just so.
That I don't know. That felt ham-fisted in. I don't. The whole like it's a virus in your head thing.
Ooh.
A computer virus. It was dumb. I didn't like it. I really didn't like this. I yawned more times than there were yawns in Fantasia. I mean, come on.
I just didn't feel anything throughout the whole movie. I sent a text to our group chat that was just, I feel numb. I'm not feeling anything. Ollie's disconnected.
Are you alright, Ollie? Rip Ollie.
Hello. Yeah, I felt just like I didn't feel angry at it. I didn't feel like disappointed. I obviously didn't feel like enjoyment. I didn't even feel boredom. I just kind of felt I was melding into the screen. It was.
I definitely felt boredom.
I don't know how it managed to drag so much if it was only an hour and a half. It wasn't necessarily awful.
I know.
Pacing, it was just
when you think about the plot,
so disengaging.
yeah, when you think about the plot, you just, how did that last an hour and a half?
Yeah, exactly.
It sounds like you could have condensed that into 20 minutes without losing any of the story.
It's because it just felt like they were kind of
teenage problems.
Yeah, it felt like they were just going around doing whatever they felt like. They didn't have an aim. They were like, oh, we need to bring back our friend, so we'll do this one thing where we like get rid of things we love, and then nothing happens, and that's it.
Yeah.
That's like the only thing they do. I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, the writing, okay, it's honestly one of the worst written movies I have ever seen. Because obviously we've seen some pretty bad stuff on the podcast, but if you think about it, stuff like Robot Monster isn't necessarily like written badly. The fact that was bad was more like to do with the fact that, you know, the production value was really bad and the acting was weird, and obviously there was some weird bits in the writing, but as a concept it wasn't that bad. And okay, you're pushing it with Kangaroo Jack, but if you ignore at least like the dialogue, then like at least you've got like a story that's like all right.
Yeah.
Here it's just the story is just, it's spread so thinly, and oh my gosh, the dialogue is, I don't think there's a single line in this movie that I didn't like think sounded scripted. You know,
But at least they're quite a lot being memorable because it's so awful. Like the end scene where I can't even remember which character it is, but whichever one it is that confronts Slender Man, she's like, "Take me!" And later, she screams and running away.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was just like, "Take me!" Turns and runs away. Yeah, I mean, go on.
One thing that annoyed me was like, I remember on the news for Katie or whatever, it said last seen on school field trip and didn't give a date or time. So yeah, that's useful. And then they said like, I miss her so much about like a few hours after they found out that she disappeared, when I would assume that you'd be freaking out and trying to find out where she is, instead of, it felt like they just assumed she was dead.
Yeah, it felt like they'd been searching for like 2 weeks, and it was just, oh, I miss her.
Yeah.
Yeah,
like,
they, like,
do you not want to be out looking for your friend?
I missed you so much, and then they just put, hello? Why didn't they respond?
Oh, and you know, just one thing I want to get off my chest is obviously back to the dialogue. It was so clearly some boomers who know nothing about teenagers, and
Yes.
you know, I don't claim to be the world authority on teenagers, but you know, keeper of the flame, yeah.
Keeper of the flame.
But you know, they said like, oh, we're gonna watch the website video. Oh, it's those dude bros. And then when the guy, I remember he's called Thom because purely because I was imagining like you, Thom, as like the most shallow character, and it was quite funny actually. But he was like asking one of the girls out, and it was just like, hey, how are you doing? I am holding up all right. I'm doing okay. And then she sees Slender Man and there's that, and he's, oh, it's Hallie. Hallie.
Yeah.
Are you there?
By the way, the writer is
about half an hour.
the writer is currently 70 years old.
Oh no! What a surprise!
Yeah, so they are actually just a boomer, so it makes sense.
I mean, I'll forgive him a little bit in that he's actually a boomer and not like a socially inept 20-year-old.
So he was born. This looks like an estimate, maybe because it says 1st of January 1950.
Yeah,
I think it's age approximately 70.
Yeah, but yeah. Yeah, and when they were all like hanging around at one of their houses, and they were watching some indecent videos and stuff, like that just felt like, what? Does that happen? I don't think it happens.
Oh yeah, when that happened, what was that? They're like, this is from our POV. Okay,
do you think he likes that?
It's like, who does this?
And then, you know,
You okay?
this is pushing me to breaking point, maybe more than Kangaroo Jack.
But the horror in this was just awful. Like, I know we said it was very reliant on jump scares, but if you take A Quiet Place, which we did ages ago now, that combined a few jump scares with a lot of suspense and stuff. But there was one scene where, now you're mentioning Thom, the flattest character of all time, when he's with whatever her name is, and then he starts like turning into Slender Man, and then she's panicking. It looked awful. It was just laughing.
That made me laugh. That did look shocking. I've got that written down. I was like, I think it says boyfriend scene was funny. Yes, there we go.
You know the movie's bad if Tom's taking notes.
When I saw that field trip sign that with no date on, all right, that's it. I sat through. Look out! It's the dude bros.
The dude.
I sat through. This is from our POV. I'm not taking it anymore.
Yeah.
Because watching this film confused me because I was like, what is it that actually makes tension? Because it's definitely not this.
Yeah.
But I can't think of what differs it. Like, Stranger Things has way better tension, and that's like a really similar premise. If you want to watch a good version of this, watch Stranger Things.
You know what you just said? It's making you kind of question tension. Isn't that reminiscent of comedy in Kangaroo Jack?
Oh no. It is.
It's making you question what comedy was, and then this is making you question what tension is.
I think you need to like the characters, and there needs to be an actual sense of danger. But there isn't. You never see anyone... One thing, this surprised me, right? Was this supposed to be like a PG-13 in America? Because there's no like gore or anything, and no one really gets... The worst thing that happens is someone turns into a tree.
Sounds pretty fun, not gonna lie.
Like, nothing... It's a staple of the horror genre, you know. come on, at least a bit of fun.
Like, at least if you're not gonna have,
it just
if you're not gonna have gore, then at least make the characters relatable, or like not even relatable, just likable.
yeah, because
Enough that you like empathize with them, and you're like, I
yeah,
don't want you to
I mean,
die.
the woman in black that doesn't have any gore in, but that's actually got some tension and stuff.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you have like an enigmatic presence, whereas Slender Man, he was relevant like 10 years ago or something. Like, I don't even know why this film came.
Yeah. It's just.
Oh, it is rated PG-13. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, I mean I forgot what I was going to say now. Oh, tension. Right.
Yeah.
I felt very much like it was trying to build a sense of tension, especially towards the scenes in the woods. Obviously, like the first one and then the last one, where Hallie, I have to take a second there, is off to become a tree. They felt very much like they were trying to build tension there, because there was the ominous music, there was the low lights, there was focus on the sound effects, and but there was just nothing. You didn't have any. You weren't on the edge of your seat, and equally you weren't like actively. You didn't. You just felt. You just felt the neutral. You weren't like on the edge of your seat, and you weren't relaxed. But the reason you weren't relaxed is because you know what's coming is going to be awful, and you're prepared to like cringe.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just I'm trying to think of, like how to compare this to stuff that has good tension. Like, I suppose the characters obviously would be a huge part of it, but then also because cinematography wasn't bad. I don't know. Oh, well, I think I'll just leave it.
It must be the writing and something about the okay, actually, I think partly is the lighting, because a lot of times I felt like it was too bright. You could see Slender Man like really easily.
Yeah,
and it made it look terrible. You want to do like an Alien style thing,
It was way too
bright. Keep it in the dark.
It was way too bright when Slenderman was on screen, but I was pretty sure that the rest of the film was far too dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
I had to watch it with my phone on full brightness in a dark room. So I was watching my phone.
Maybe I didn't notice it because I have my monitor on full brightness in a dark room anyway.
Nice. Yeah, it's just... Sorry, you were saying?
So
I think it was you could see Slender Man too easily. It was just
I thought it was quite good compared to the other horror stuff.
I thought it was more interesting, but I didn't think it was scary.
Yeah,
like with just all the Slender Men that you could easily see.
That were just like their dad or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you're constantly bombarded with images of the Slender Man from the start of the film. And I guess it wouldn't hurt to have a couple, especially given you're sort of introducing this this sort of tale, this creature that was kind of like born on internet forums of all places. You're introducing that to like a wider audience. Like, yeah, include a couple images at the start. Like, I can't remember, did they have newspaper cuttings or something? Or like screenshots or whatever? Like, fine. But don't overdo it. They overdid it since then. So by the time the Slenderman itself comes on screen, you already know what you're expecting. And there's not really any tension because there's nothing you're not expecting. Like, you know exactly what's going to happen. The Slenderman's going to turn up and try and capture them. There's no mystery. There's no element of something being hidden from you. You can predict exactly what's going to happen. The only thing it has going for it is when it's going to happen, with like the jump scares and stuff.
I can't think of what it is with the tension that isn't there. it must just be the writing, because I think it is the lack of sense of danger. So thinking, okay, yeah. So think of A Quiet Place, right at the start of the film. One of the creatures murders like two people, right?
Yeah.
It kills the boy, and then there's the guy with his dead wife as well. In Alien, obviously, it has the chest burster thing and like picks off all the crew. But because all you know is that one of the girls has gone missing. Like you never see anything happen to them. Every time the Slenderman turns up, all he does is kind of like look at them a bit, and then walks off.
Yeah.
And then going insane, like it doesn't really. You see, at one point you see like I think it's Chloe has some signs of harm on her arm, but it never hurts them at all. It's just kind of like nightmares, and it's like why you wouldn't really be scared of that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
that's the thing, because you never know if it's actually real, and because everything's so predictable.
Yeah.
I think that's why there's no tension whatsoever.
Yeah, I mean, there was a line that was said that in the woods where there was like, if you see its face, you're either gonna die or you're gonna end up so insane. Like, but neither of those things. Well, just because you can make your like guesses as to what was supposed to happen in the script based on like the trailer and stuff you can find on the internet where it's been like left out of the script, but as to what was explicitly shown on the screen, I don't think you see anyone commit suicide, and you don't see any signs of like insanity apart from nightmares and like some signs of harm on Chloe's arm, which if you were zoning out like me, you didn't notice until Thom said it.
I think it was Chloe.
Yeah,
it could be any of them.
About the boyfriend as well. Oh, yes, those are.
yeah.
So there.
I just, I'm at a loss. I'm just trying to think. Oh, just complete random change of topic. There was one last thing I did like. There was one line said by one of them in the woods. The best part is I can't remember exactly what it was, but it was along the lines of something like, you know. Oh no, it wasn't in the woods. Sorry, it was when they were in the school, and it was like, even if there's a 1,000,000 to 1 chance of it happening, we owe it to We owe it to.
Oh, that's like a line from Stranger Things, by the way.
Yeah, probably. That's probably why it's good.
When do you remember Joyce in season 1, Ollie, talking to Hopper?
Yeah.
Where Hopper says like, there's 99% of missing children
like
turn up at a relative's house. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it was acted well. It was written well. Obviously, it wasn't original. But I'll give it that.
Well, yeah. I wouldn't say it was acted well.
Well,
I think Hallie's actor was pretty good. The other ones were mainly good. I don't know what it is about Joey King, who's the actor of Ren, but it might just be because she tends to sign on to do like bad films like Kissing Booth and now Kissing Booth 2. And stuff like that. Maybe I just have a bit of a bias against her, but I don't know. It felt slightly overdone, but maybe that's just me.
I mean, I might have only found it like incredible. Well, not incredible, but because the rest of the movie was so bad. Just anything.
It was a breath. Really good.
It was a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
The rest of the acting wasn't like awful, but it was serviceable given the terrible script. I'm trying to think of stuff we haven't mentioned now.
I know, because the plot doesn't go anywhere, you can't really talk about anything.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I mean, what was up with turning into a tree at the end? Was that the?
No.
Is that how the?
I just accepted it. I know we said we predicted like the whole thing, but maybe not turning into a tree.
Are all of the missing children just trees in the forest? Maybe there was
you
never.
just assume they're all gonna like die, but
like you could have.
I don't know.
You could have gone somewhere with that. You could have gone like you could have like hinted at it like history books in the start of the movie, and like that there was then there used to be a forest there or whatever, and at the end it's revealed that everyone who goes missing is turned into a tree, and it like
And you can
pans
have
out
like
from the
existential
forest.
horror of being trapped in somewhere for eternity or whatever. Like in oh no, they kind of did it with the Old Guard about the immortal people, where one of them's like trapped in the ocean in a coffin, like
Yeah,
kind of spooky stuff like that, you know.
yeah, and then like finish with a great shot of like panning out to all of the forest, and you can see all of these people that the Slenderman's taken or whatever. You could have done that, but instead they just accept that she's turned into a tree, and then cut to the insane one. I've forgotten who she is.
But in the trailer, there's someone that's been abducted by Slenderman walking back out. So she hasn't been a tree.
I don't know. I also okay. This could be This could just be mine. This could be very personal, but like, I didn't like the Slenderman turning into like that, that spider creature with like all of those legs and
Yeah, that was it. Chapter 2 reminiscent.
yeah. I just felt that it was just no, don't just stop it.
Yeah,
Like,
Stop what? Oh yeah, you're not talking to me.
yeah.
It was
Thom,
it
stop
was
growing
dumb.
legs.
I was like, it's just make it a sci-fi if you want instead of a horror. I don't care.
I felt it could. If you were writing a movie about the Slenderman, then like I'm sure you could, with given competent directors and writers who are 70 and obviously have had some experience, like you could do something and make it threatening.
The first effort
with just the Slenderman as essentially just a human, like no legs and stuff. It's just a monster that kidnaps people with no face. You could do something like that, but as Ollie said, there've been a load of attempts.
One of them is meant to be fine.
Fine.
Oh yeah, all the Slenderman films. Yeah, what is supposed to be okay.
I'm not quite.
As opposed to unwatchable.
Yeah. I'm not quite sure. Is it something? I feel like the Slenderman isn't the best sort of creature you could adapt for Hollywood. Like, obviously, you can have something that's fine, but I can't help but feel that the very nature of the monster is like more of a, like in written form or in a narrated creepypasta form on YouTube or something. You've got where I don't think he translates that well to the big screen, and
You'd be right there.
maybe
I think
that's
it'd be
why
better as like an indie horror.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's something about like Hollywood and the big films in general that just don't get it, and like some independent filmmaker would do a better job, be more faithful or whatever, but I don't know.
Don't think it'd be very difficult to do a better job than this.
Yeah.
Right, should we try and give a rating then?
Oh.
This.
Alright, okay. Can I pull up the website which you can go to?
I think this is a tiny bit better than Kangaroo Jack. I gave Kangaroo Jack a 2.5.
Well, I'm gonna definitely say Robot Monster was
actually,
definitely
I think it's
better.
the same. I looked it up because I thought Kangaroo Jack was longer. It's actually shorter by 4 minutes. But
for some
because
reason
they both felt like really long.
For some reason, the Robot Monster link takes you to the social network. I'll have to fix that.
Yeah, I'm gonna give this film a 2 point. No, I'm gonna give it a 2.5.
Okay, I gave Robot.
It's just I want to not think about it anymore.
Okay, I gave Robot Monster a 4. Robot Monster was definitely better and like objectively more
yes.
enjoyable than this. I gave Kangaroo Jack a 2.1. It's better than Kangaroo Jack purely because, the acting isn't terrible. There's a couple of nice shots. The music was serviceable, and like Slenderman as a concept is cool. A talking Kangaroo Jack as a concept isn't cool. So I'm gonna go 2.5 as well.
What did I give good old Kangaroo Jack?
2.1.
2.1.
See, I actually think I enjoy Kangaroo Jack more than this.
Ooh,
Ooh.
we're getting into one.
Excruciating to get through.
Are we getting our first one? Drum roll.
Sure, I'll give it a 1.9.
Oh yes.
Wow.
Remember the good old days when I used to be the bad cop?
Good old days.
1.9.
Well, I guess.
Not a good place to be. The first 1 rating.
Okay, that is a 2.3 average.
Just above
Nice.
Kangaroo Jack, then, right?
Yep, just above. Like, Kangaroo Jack's
Congratulations.
2.2, this is 2.3. Well done, Slender Man. Congratulations. Now I'm so glad I can just wipe this from my memory.
We can talk about
It
good
will
things
continue to
now.
haunt you forever.
Ugh.
I don't really want to put everything on like the same platform as Slender Man, but I feel like I do want to talk about something good
Yeah,
How
well,
about submission
to
spotlight?
cleanse the palate.
we need to talk about the submission spotlight. So, last week we...
Oh, frick. I forgot about that.
You always forget about that. You're an irresponsible
I should have
host.
watched. Did you two watch it?
What?
I didn't.
Did you... Oh,
No,
I thought you'd already
we,
watched it.
We'll do it
Oh,
for
okay.
next time. I was about to say, like last week in our submission spotlight, we were saying about we had one for this week, but we kind of realized just after we'd finished the episode that we're not going to be able to record together because Ollie's on holiday. Hence his quite bad audio quality. I have him hooked up. I have him phoning, hooked up to a microphone, so a close mic to the phone, and then Tom's coming out of a speaker that's next to the phone. So that's quite interesting. Yeah. But we'll do that next week, and this gives us a bit more time to watch it now as well.
Yeah.
But if you have anything you'd like us to review, anything like a short movie, a novel, or anything you've written, music or whatever, then send it in, and we'll have a quick segment about it. We'll talk about the good stuff and give you some constructive criticism, and we'd love to have you on to discuss it as well. That would be cool. We don't have to do that live. We can pre-record that. But just get in contact, and we'd love to help you out a bit, give you a bit of feedback, and help keep our podcast a little bit more entertaining. Of excellence. Joke. Right.
At least my audio quality, well, it might not be good, but at least it's better than
Yeah. All right. I agree with that.
Okay. Next section.
I think we are actually going on to the next section.
Yeah. Recommendations.
I've got one.
Whoa, that's cool. I haven't.
Whoa.
I haven't had enough time to watch something else.
Well, I've not watched something then.
Ooh.
I've played something.
Ooh.
So, I've been trying to get into more, indie games. So I stayed away from it. I was gonna buy like a main brand game that I was like, no,
gamer.
I'm gonna buy this indie game instead. And I'm very glad I did because I already have like 20 hours on it. So it's a game called Scourgebringer, which is a rogue light or rogue-like. I always forget which one is which. And it's just like really.
Hello. He's died.
Just right.
Wait, is his computer crashed? Yeah. Hello. Hello. Cool.
Hello?
Hi. You died.
Yeah,
At
yeah,
least
I
they're
know.
not alive.
Okay, where did I die?
Oh yes, he's blurred.
What was I saying?
Get in. I can't actually remember now.
You're like, right.
Shall I just start again?
Yeah, that could be a thought.
Okay, so I want to recommend a game called Scourgebringer, which is like an indie action roguelite or roguelike, I can't remember which is which, where you have to battle through realms of enemies and fight unique bosses in each one, and it's really fun. Like, the combat system is great with like dashes, hack and slash, bullet storm, heavy attacks, and things like that. It feels really fluid with double jumps and stuff, so it's got like platforming and action. Combat's really fun. You'll just want to continuously do like loads of runs over and over again to try and beat it. And although it is quite difficult, I think that if you just keep going at it, you'll be able to beat it. Because I've finished like the main game. I've not done there's like more stuff to do after you've technically beaten it, but I've technically beaten it, and I'm not that great at these kind of games, so I think you'll be able to do it, and I definitely recommend it. So yeah, get Scourgebringer.
Cool.
I think it's still on
Probably the
sale.
game.
Sale? Ooh. Is it on sale still? No, it's not. Never mind.
That's so sad.
It's pretty cheap though because it's an indie game, so get it.
Nice.
Have you got anything, Ollie?
I've got 2 recommendations.
Right, while you're doing that, Tom, disconnect and reconnect because you're blurbling.
Okay.
So my first one is a spooky film for Halloween.
Ooh.
Well, it's not really that spooky, but it's The Sloop, which is the sequel to The Shining. I've read the book as well, and although The Shining book is obviously very different to the film, this is a pretty faithful adaptation, but there are some differences because it's trying to fit into the Stanley Kubrick universe. So, like, the Overlook Hotel makes an appearance, which obviously wouldn't be possible in the book world. But it basically tells the story of Danny Torrance as an adult, and he's helping out with this girl called Abra Stone, who has a shining power as well. And there's this group called the True Knot who hunt down anyone with the shining to sort of like suck the life out of them and drain them until they die, and that's how they feel their immortality. And yeah, it basically just follows the story of him and her and trying to stop this group, but it's not as good as The Shining, but I think that I probably preferred the film version to the book, whereas I probably prefer The Shining book to the film, but it's a pretty good sequel. And then the second thing is a novel. It's by Anthony Burgess, who wrote A Clockwork Orange, and it's called The Wanting Seed. It's basically a Malthusian comedy about like a society that's heavily overpopulated to the extent where it's like illegal to have more than one child, and everything's led by, well, it like glorifies homosexuality, and it tells the story of Tristan and his wife Beatrice Joanna, who Beatrice basically has a secret relationship with his brother, and he finds out, and then they separate for the rest of the novel. But obviously it follows these two characters, but it's more of like an exploration of this society where there's a lot of unemployment because of the mass overpopulation. There's also like wars that just fought against nobody because there's no point in having an idle army, and it also people die in the war, so they try and reduce the population like that. But I mean, it is sort of a satire, but at the same time, a lot of the ways it depicts society aren't that unimaginable, because obviously like the one-child policy, which was until recently in place in China, so quite a lot of the events within the society in the novel could quite possibly be reality in, who knows, like a couple of centuries' time maybe. So yeah, they're my recommendations.
Cool. I mean, we've got a bit of time. Tell you what, I'll give one that I haven't seen for a while, but I remember really enjoying.
A recommendation from Ben.
Well, so it might be a bit of a normie one, and a lot of people have probably already seen it. I'll probably just say it in case you haven't. It's obviously like Halloween by John Carpenter, 1978 movie, which pretty much like it was quite revolutionary in the fact that it sort of sets the standard for a lot of the tropes that you'll see in like more modern horror movies. So if you go in watching it not appreciating when it was made, you probably wouldn't enjoy it as much, because it's at heart a story about basically a family being hunted by a masked killer called Michael Myers. And there are some jump scares and stuff, but it was, at the time, it was very revolutionary, and even with that stuff aside, it's still really enjoyable, given, unlike this movie, it still has tension. It's really good at building tension. I think Michael Myers only appears like 2 or 3 times in the movie, and there's only a couple of really intense action sequences. A lot of it's just like this characters dealing with what's going on. And obviously, I've recommended a couple John Carpenter movies before. He does his soundtrack to all of his movies, and here, like, the main theme for Halloween is pretty much iconic at this point. You've probably heard it. And a lot of people have done covers of it and stuff. There have been parodies, and it's pretty much ingrained into sort of pop culture. But the rest of the soundtrack's great. It enhances the stuff on screen without being cheesy, and that's something that a lot of his movies end up having, is like a really solid soundtrack that, despite sometimes the cheesiness of his movies, somehow like enhances it without being like a stereotypical 80s soundtrack, which is just either standard orchestral stuff like nowadays or something a bit cheesier. So yeah, Halloween by John Carpenter. There are a lot of sequels made of this. So there's like Halloween 2 and 3, I think. I'm just going off the top of my head, so don't take this at face value. There's also there've been like a few ones, and I think there was a Michael Myers one made. And then there was one recently in 2018, also confusingly called Halloween, but it's a sequel, and it kind of like retcons Halloween 2 and 3, I think, and instead, because the first movie ends like quite abruptly, actually, it's sort of taking that from the perspective of the main character a load of years later. but I don't know. I haven't actually seen that. I've heard it's all right. Obviously the soundtrack for that was also John Carpenter, and it's sort of catapulted him back into the limelight. And he's releasing a album of non-soundtrack music in February, so that would be cool to listen to. So I'm dragging this on now. Halloween from 1978 is good. I guess check out the sequels if you liked it, but don't go expecting much.
Yeah, there's 12 Halloween films in total.
Oh dear.
Oh,
Is this going to
There's
be
a
like
lot.
Scanners where there's...
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Curse of Michael Myers, H2O, the Halloween remake.
doppelgangers.
Yeah, I've only seen one. It stands alone fine. You don't need a sequel. I guess if you do want to watch the sequels, then go ahead and do so. Yeah. Groovy. So, should we finish up then?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Groovy. So you can find us on social media at EOV Podcast on both Twitter and Instagram. Obviously, contact us if you want to be featured in the submission spotlight section. We have a website, entertainmentofexcellence.weebly.com, and that has a lot of stuff on it, including the Hall of Fame and the Hall of Shame, which is at the bottom of the page and is the 3 worst rated movies, which now, if I remember correctly, are Kangaroo Jack, Slender Man, and Robot Monster?
Yeah, Robot Monsters.
Yeah.
There, I think.
Cool. So there's those. Sign up for the mailing list for access to the schedule and the master list of all of our recommendations with links to buy them or watch them or listen or whatever. And most of all, have a groovy Halloween. If for any reason you're listening to this on Halloween. And all right, see you.
All right.
See ya. Yeah, that's 16.